On today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about a movie directed by a very special director, Ridley Scott. This man, he has such a wide range. He's covered so many different types of films. Let's just list a few. Gladiator, Black Hawk Down, American Gangster, Prometheus, The Martian. And then most recently, he had The Last Duel, which was one of my favorite movies of 2021. And then this movie, House of Gucci. Yeah, let's talk for a minute. With House of Gucci, we're led by an all-star cast which includes Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Al Pacino, and Jeremy Irons. I mean, it has an amazing cast. The story talks about this brand that the world knows, and it's from the point of view of the romance between Driver and Gaga and how it kind of morphs into this fight for the control of the Gucci brand. The score on this one is a 5 out of 10. Let's break that down. Starting with the pros for this movie. Now, I was going to think that we're talking about a big brand and fight for control over it and a family that is at the center of it, and you'd think that'd be full of drama and it could be really interesting and compelling and captivating, and that's what I'd be talking about in this section, right? No, fortunately not. But here's what I can say for the pros. It's beautifully shot, the wardrobe looks great, hair and makeup looks great, production design looks great. All the direct production related parts of the film are fine. And now the con section. 1 second, I need to stretch for this one. For a movie or for a show, if there's ever a low score given, you want to think that a lot of people worked on it. No one wants to make a bad thing. I want to be diplomatic, or I want to find some sort of positive or silver lining. No, I can't do that here. This was bad on a lot of different levels. Why did the actors like Jared Leto, Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, all of them with the accents they tried, but especially Jared Leto, why? Those accents were really, really bad and really distracting in the movie. Also, one thing which was a little strange, the music was from time periods that were all over the place. I mean, when is this supposed to be focusing on? Maybe we could use music from that period or an original score that was used more than a lot of other songs, like from the 70s and the 80s, which was what was used in this movie. There were a lot of tracks that were used, and when they would come up, it just didn't make sense. So much of this movie was done in a very caricature type of way. It didn't feel right. And there were some scenes towards the end of the movie which were a bit more serious, a bit more dramatic, a bit tense. With those scenes, that's the Ridley Scott that we all know and love. 80% of the movie was something else entirely. And it just felt so weird. And look, I get that weird can be good. Experimenting and trying something different can be good. This was not that though. This was just bad. It was unwatchable. There were times where I was like, you know what? Maybe let's just stop this movie. But I guess when you've committed at least an hour to watching a movie, which I had at that point, you might as well see it all the way through. The writing, and really this is the directing. A lot of this is put on the directing. There's no consistent tone at all through this movie. I think of the two heavyweights in the movie, right? I think of Al Pacino in one scene and Jeremy Irons in another scene. They're acting, they're fantastic, but here's the problem. They're fantastic, but they're still in the middle of a mess. And yes, this film was made during COVID-19 and all those safety protocols that were put into place, but you know what? So was his other movie that was done just a few months earlier, The Last Duel. There's no excuse. The Last Duel was a phenomenal movie. Just to recap again, the score, 5 out of 10. If you want me to find a silver lining for this movie, no, I can't. But I can say this, he has a lot of other great movies. You can see The Last Duel, you can see The Martian, you can see American Gangster, you can see Thelma and Louise, you can see Alien. There's a lot of choices there. He tried on this one, it didn't work. He also has some good productions through his Scott-free television production company as well. I'm not going to get into that because there's one show in there that's my absolute favorite, and I'm going to save that though for another episode. House of Gucci, all I can say about it is that it's a 2 hour and 40-minute, let's call it experience? Yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening.